Hello, and welcome to What Am I Doing, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is Lewis McCaffery. Lewis, what's new with you?
Not too much.
Skip.
What?
Skip.
No.
Skip.
Do you
Skip.
want me to answer the question? I'm confused.
Doubt.
What? What are you doing?
Well, I'm glad you asked, as this week's topic is NPCs.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Let's get to it. So today's topic is NPCs, non-playable characters, their lust for life and how to find them. Lewis, the first thing I do when I wake up for work is smoke 30 cigarettes and then walk at 15 frames a second. How do I become more believable amongst my fellow humans? What am I doing?
So that was you I was seeing outside my window this morning. Thank you. Anyway, I think the first thing with any NPC that you're planning for a session is to remember that they must have a purpose in their world. They don't necessarily have to be able to give a quest or sell items to the players, but they need to have a reason for existing in the world so that it doesn't just feel like every other video game in the world.
Do NPCs need to feel real in order for a player to feel realism? Such important questions on the D&D
That's
podcast.
A very deep question.
It is. It's
Do
like
they need to be real?
iRobot with William Smith.
Or William Smith. Yes, largely yes. There needs to be, like I said, there needs to be a reason for them to be in the world, and that reason needs to be believable. That NPC needs to be believable. You can't have someone that just goes about their day for no reason, with no home, no life, they'd never eat, like that kind of thing. For an NPC to really have an impact on your campaign, even if it is a minor NPC that players meet in a town or a tavern, they need to have some level of real essence about them. They need to be a real person in that world.
Would you say NPCs just need to serve a purpose, or can they just be walking around town, but people can go up to them and have a dialogue with them, and you hope that the DM can put something together? Or maybe they do have something in place, but do we require that for NPCs to be valid?
I'd say so, but only because even the most minor NPCs that you have nothing planned for that are wandering around, even having them there, having that description of them being around, makes your world feel alive. Even if your players never interact with them. If you send a party into a bustling city, but you do not describe anyone nearby, like you're in the middle of a market and there's no one, or there's one or two people buying groceries, let's say, then that city immediately feels fake. Whereas if you describe it as dozens or hundreds of random NPCs, random races, all out doing their daily lives, shopping, then even though they don't serve a purpose, they exist in that world.
You feel more immersed because it doesn't feel like an empty plane. There's things like going on.
If you played a video game that had no NPCs, or even a D&D session with no NPCs, how would you feel about that? Like, what would your character do in that situation?
You feel like it's not been... you're waiting for the download patch.
Exactly.
And you've been robbed of £70 and Trish won't call me back. From a player perspective, I think even if someone puts an NPC in and you go up and you try and have a conversation and you see the fear in the DM's eyes, which is enjoyable because of kinks, but they've not got a plan for it. I don't think you need to have a plan, but at least put something in place. Like, at least be ready for the wing. You've got to be there to be like, right, on the spot, I'm going to have a name, or maybe not have a name, because sometimes I've done it with no names, literally recently.
Yeah, literally 2 days ago.
But at least we knew there was going to be something for them. I mean, they weren't actually physically there, in my defence, the person who literally cannot be named, because I don't have a name.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they were referenced, and they did have a purpose.
Exactly. I think I think DMs need to be able to improvise in some way, but even if you don't have a name or don't have a purpose, you can literally say that you see someone in a tavern, let's say, that's dressed like a farmer or a fisherman or a miner, for example, and already you have the basis of a person in that you already know what they do for work, why they work, they've got
the environment, they've got a job at least, or some kind of some occupation, or unless they just fancy dress every day, which is also interesting.
That is what we do. So
yeah, I am currently dressed as a clown right now. I nearly swore then. But I have been told off swearing.
You have indeed. I wondered what your outfit was. Clown would not have been my first guess.
No. Well, I'm actually dressed as a Greg's employee. And they're not clowns. No. They're my favourite.
Greg's employee. Oh, Greg's.
We are not promoting Greg's delicious bakery.
We have not been sponsored.
What's the best NPC that you've experienced?
Ooh. I kind of don't want to say this because I don't want to give you the ego boost, but I'll be honest, I think it might be Merger in your recent sessions that you've
Is that true, or are you just what? Are you
genuinely? I mean that's something to do with it, of course, but let's keep it PG. Only because obviously not a lot of NPCs will stay with you for years after a campaign. A few will, and I feel like when an NPC is clearly thought about, they clearly have a backstory, they have motivations for doing what they do and why they do it, then it really makes them, one, feel alive, and two, have an impact not only on the story but as your player character. And I think, again, not to give you the ego boost, but I think Merger was very well done. What is your favourite NPC?
I just need to wipe away the tears. I'm such a proud papa.
Let me help you. I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you. NPCs are my favourite. I tell you what, and it's a bit of a cheat question. I was going to swear again there. I really sort my life out. But I think everyone, all of our fan base, for 4 episodes that I know up on Spotify. Boblin the Goblin, 100%. Listening to episode 1 back, we need like a Boblin Goblin like merchandise.
Maybe that'll be our mascot.
He needs, Boblin. He's just this like little deformed, like tumor infested goblin who juggles like juggling balls, but they're bombs.
Why do I feel like
he's actually very good
right now?
He's
what
like
have we created?
Yeah. But I think it could be good.
Oh,
I've got 100%. Plans. Boblin the Goblin's been gobbling up the fan base.
Researching ways to seal your... No.
So yeah, it's a really short episodes, but NPCs are short unless you make them tall. And they're words to live and die by, I think. Today's adventure is sadly coming to a close, but we are back again next week with the topic, hands or feet? Which one is better when making a hearty soup?
Oh no.
And as always, thank you for tuning in, and if you'd like to join in on the D&D action or just support this show, then please head over to our server Patreon, Adventures in Elandra, which can also be found in today's podcast description, and join us on Twitter at WhatAmID&D. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.